brother just loaded up the car and I'm gonna go to the bathroom and we're hitting the road. Okay, so you want to do a documentary, right?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous.
Alright. Well, say hi.
Hi.
About what?
Just everything in my life sucks right now, so.
Like, what?
Well, I don't know if I told you, my brother, he has like a mental illness. So he was diagnosed with schizophrenia like a couple of years ago. And he's been like, it's been a nightmare actually.
He lives with you?
No, he doesn't live with me. He lives with my mom. But he was on the streets in Las Vegas for about a year. Just because he wasn't on medicine or anything.
Yeah.
And then he almost died because he was like not eating and not taking care of himself. And then I decided to drive out there and pick him up with my dad. And then once I got him to California, nobody wanted to take care of him. Like my parents were just like, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So my family's kind of effed up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, aren't we all though? But that's the thing, is like anxiety, you don't have to live with that. It's just, from my experience and the detoxes that I've gone through, like after detoxing and getting rid of my parasites, I don't have depression, I don't have anxiety anymore. My binging and other eating disorder behaviors have gone down drastically. And plus we also have to look at the family history. And
yeah.
You said you have a history of alcoholics and stuff. Do you know what side it's on? This side? That side?
Oh, sorry. It's on this side.
Passenger side?
Yeah.
So, and plus, like, you've never really done, like, a proper detox, right?
Not all the way through.
Yeah.
Like, I've started it before. I have that kit thingy
Yeah.
that I bought, but I never finished it.
So I think you just have to really try and do a detox, and because that helps so much. And plus, if you're trying to do it naturally, you know, and getting off your meds completely, that's just the way to do it. Instead, no. Why
Of course not, Vanessa.
Why not? Why not? You wake up early enough, you know.
I know.
What is holding you back?
I don't know. I feel like my life is just so chaotic, and it's hard for me to have like some sort of routine. I've never had a routine in my life before. It's so weird.
That's why you have to start slow.
Yeah.
Just even.
And I've never stuck with anything. So, well, except for the alcohol thing.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
That was
Fast.
quick. That's not your responsibility, which I agree. I totally agree. It shouldn't be my responsibility or anybody's responsibility. It should be my parents' responsibility. That's their child. But my parents aren't normal parents.
Like in what sense, though? How are they not normal, though?
They didn't want to take care of their own kid when they brought him home.
Have they tried to in the past?
I think for them, it's kind of like, if I don't see the problem, it doesn't exist, kind of a thing. So, because he was out in Vegas for a long time, I just think that it was easier for them not to deal with it. And then once I brought him back to California, they were just like, I'm not taking it.
Yeah. What was his, like, drug of choice?
I don't know what drugs he did in the past or whatever, but the reason why he was on the streets in Las Vegas is because he had like a psychotic break. And he wasn't on any medication for the schizophrenia. We didn't even know
also, I personally think any mental conditions like that are just, those people are just extremely spiritually sensitive, and so they hear and see things that normal people don't see, and so they're just extremely sensitive, like an empath. You know what that is?
Yeah.
So it's like that times 1,000. Like they're just so sensitive. It's basically they're like on hallucinative drugs 24/7. There's just their like sensory receptors are just extremely sensitive and heightened.
And I do believe that to an extent, because there was some stuff that he would tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, oh, he's crazy. But now I'm just like, what if there is like truth? He said that he was a healer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That he was able to like heal people.
Mm-hmm.
What else did he say? He said that he had a job to do, and then once it was complete, that he can leave. Or
yeah. So everything that you're explaining right now it sounds like he's basically traveling through time and space, even though his physical body's here.
Yeah.
His mental body and his soul is traveling through the cosmos. That's why he probably thought that he was part of a cartel and Mozart, like and you know, maybe those things are true, you know? Like maybe in a past life he was Mozart or he was part of a cartel. But it just sounds like he's just traveling and he's not grounded. But when you said that he has like a mission or whatever, and once it's complete he can leave, that basically means everybody, like that's everybody here on this earth. It's like we all have a mission and a purpose of why are we here. We all have different roles to play.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like he doesn't know how to stop traveling to focus on his purpose and heal people. And somewhere along the way in his life, he lost that connection of what's reality and what's not. And how old is he?
He just turned 32 yesterday, actually.
When did his schizophrenia start?
I think he was 28 or 29.
Did he live out here when that started?
No, he was in Vegas when it started.
And how long did he live out there for?
He was out there for, I think, a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just started living on the streets.
When did he move to Las Vegas again? How old was he?
I'm not sure how old he was when he moved. I'm not sure.
Okay. But he lived with you, growing up?
Yeah, so we've moved a couple times. My parents got a divorce when I was, I think, 18 or 19. And then I feel like after my parents got a divorce, that's when everything was single. I had broken up with a boyfriend, and then that's when I asked my grandmother if I could live with her, and she said okay.
What does your grandma do? Is she active? Does she work? Or is she just hang out at home?
So she's retired, and she does do her treadmill in the morning, but for the most part she stays home and just watches TV.
Yeah. Would you say that she cares about her health, or does she cook food?
No, she just does like microwavable dinners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Watches Fox News every day.
Perfect. Do you like to watch the news?
No, it gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
So I try not to watch it.
Yeah, it's fake anyway. But yeah, like leading up to this trip, I would keep like meditating on it. And depending on how open you are, I know you're trying to stay away from drugs, but some drugs are considered medicine, like mushrooms, MDMA, like when it's in a controlled environment. And I personally feel like called to hold space for you to like do a mushroom trip, because I feel like that will help you work through the PTSD and all the other trauma that was suppressed when you were on the medications. So I just wanted to like put that out there in case you're like, okay, I think I'm ready to like face this.
I totally would if I wasn't on the effects. I'm just afraid that I'll have like a weird reaction with it.
Is that
That's the antidepressants.
Oh, so you went back on that too? Or was that for your anxiety?
That's for the anxiety and the
Okay, for both.
depression. So that's my only thing.
Do you want to get back off of them?
I don't know if right now is the best time to try, just because it was to the point where I couldn't go anywhere. Like, I didn't want to go out of the house or anything. And I felt like I didn't have a life.
Yeah.
I felt like I was literally trapped in my house because I couldn't go anywhere. I just had so much fear. That's what it is. I have like this fear inside of me.
Fear of what?
I don't know. It's like fear of people in general. And I think it's because I've been so hurt by a lot of people, so it's just, I have like this protective barrier around me. I don't know, it's weird.
It's not weird. We all have fears. It's just a matter of working through them. Putting in the work to do it.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all.
I mean, ideally, yes. I would love to live life without having to be on medication. I would love it. That would be like my dream.
Were there other things that you tried to replace the medications?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that the doctor, like herbs and stuff, that she's tried with me.
But you weren't consistent with it, right?
Right. And that's probably
40 days to see
it works or whatever.
So I was talking to Mark about like your training, and he told me that like after one of the trainings that that was like the best that you had been able to breathe in a while.
Oh yeah.
Have you gone back to see him?
Yeah, I saw last.
Oh yeah, you told me.
Yeah. On Wednesday.
Do you think if you kept pursuing that it would probably help if, let's say, the doctor says that you can't get the surgery or whatever? Like, would you rather continue working with him, or do you want to see, like, let's just say that surgery is not an option right now. Like, do you think the training would be a good replacement for the surgery because that did help you?
I don't know, honestly. I just know why, because I have someone in the family that had the surgery, and he said that he could see a significant difference as far as like his breathing.
Of course.
But if I didn't do it, then I've never been in the best shape of my life, so I don't know how it would be if I just got in really good shape, and if I would just be able to breathe a little bit better if I just got into good shape or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember when I was in playing like soccer and dancing and stuff, I still was not able to breathe because I was still struggling to run or to dance or whatever. So
I was just asking because he was like, I don't think she should do it, and I'm like, but like the conversation, and like I was there like a year ago.
People think that I shouldn't do the surgery.
Yeah, but then I remember like conversations that I was having with him or you, and I'm like, I don't know, dude, like this is like if you had started that training when you were like younger, then it could have been reversed, including like breath work and stuff as well. But like you're a lot older now, and I was telling him like this training would take so many years to try to even make some kind of improvement. But I was just like telling him like I think she should do it because it's just gonna, like, honestly, like your life is gonna change so much when you get it. Like,
I guess my worst fear is that it doesn't change. Life's gonna be the same.
yeah,
Or that I do end up doing the surgery and then they take out the bars, after it like fixes the problem, and then it goes back to the way it used to be, because that's happened before too with people.
I didn't even know that they took the bars out.
Yeah, so you have the bars, they place the bars, and you have them in for I think about like 3 years. And then it's like an outpatient procedure where they take the bars out.
See that okay, that makes sense now. So then like definitely continue training with him even before the surgery.
Yeah.
And then if you can, like obviously like ask him too if he can work with you on the price. But try to see him twice a week during those 3 weeks, and then get the bars taken out. Continue, then drop down to training once a week with him, and then that training is gonna keep it'll keep the structure of the sternum where it's supposed to be. And she'll probably try to send you to physical therapy, and your insurance probably will most likely cover it, but the physical training is so like standard and structural, where the functional patterns is like everyday life, so that's going to benefit you more than just a standard physical therapist.
Should I do both? Or
No, because whatever the physical therapist is
paradise. I landed in the jungle. I spent the whole time lost in the clouds.
Alright, so we're at a little pit stop right now. We've been having really great conversations just about spirituality, health, and wellness, just overall life. I consider Brianne my client, but also my friend as well. We've been talking about how now we're probably going to go on a bunch more road trips together, so that's exciting. But it's hard to have all of the conversations on video, which is great for documentary purposes, but also like a lot of these things are personal, so but also like I don't have the proper equipment to also do both of navigation and having this recording on my phone. So I got what I could and I will continue to do that, but I'm excited and more adventures to come.
I lost my body in the summer storm, somewhere over the ocean. I think my mind may also be gone. Something more than a steady hand is what I need to borrow, just to level it out and make a new plan. Things you made just to fall apart, to tremble and cower. So I pray my eyes and ears will be last. Now flow through. I see nobody go anymore. And colors start to bleed on the floor.
Alright, we have arrived.
Yay!
How do you feel?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Tired.
tired. Yeah, me too. Alright.
Hi! Oh my god, this is so weird. Hi. My friend Vanessa.
Hi. Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. That was really nice of you, driving her. Yeah, of course. Cool.
She got attacked by the dog. She said it's okay. I got some wilderness skills beneath my belt. She said she used to be a part of the scout team. They nearly beat her leader one time. They didn't have enough thread to sew the patches.
Okay, Bree, where are we?
We're at Tonto National Forest,
Okay,
and this is Vista Lake.
let's go check it.
to watch people cry. Yeah, she whispered to me softly. Do you want me? Just how do you need me? Here I stand. Let's go stand. Make a plan. Marinate on that for a while.
So we're just going on this trail. We don't know where it goes. We're hoping it goes to the lake.
She wanted to die by a river. She wanted the tide to come up and drag her away, so that when she's dreaming, she could watch the tree line fall away. She used to draw rainbow faces in the sand. But the rainbow made the face sad.
Well, hopefully when I get it fixed, I won't have this problem.
Yeah.
Winded.
Yeah. You don't have to fake it because it's a video. Like, be honest. Like, what was your struggles?
Going down is fine. Going up is a bitch.
Yeah, just because, like, you have a hard time breathing.
Because it feels like rocks, like a pound of rocks just sitting on my chest.
Yeah.
So my lungs can't expand.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, but I love touching sand. I should go to the beach more. I like never go to the beach.
I wonder if they're fishes.
I used to skip rocks all the time. Whoa.
Oh, there's a white one. I don't have food for you guys, I'm sorry.
There's this park that I used to go to as a kid, and they had ducks everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have like their nest or whatever with eggs, and I would always try to like take their eggs. They would always try to bite me.
Oh my gosh.
I was little. I was like 4. It was funny.
That bits of foam coming out the bottom of his mouth. It's kind of funny that way.
Okay, it is about 6:30 and Where are we going?
We're going to the Mayo Clinic in Phoenix first.
Alright. Hold out. Alright, we made it a little late to Brianne's appointment, so we're hoping that we can still get this appointment in, even though we're late. So, first time here, I dropped her off. Let's go inside. Okay, you just had your first 2 appointments. How did it go?
My echocardiogram and the VO2 test.
We'll just go straight.
And so far so good. They can see changes in my heart. And we need that in order for the insurance to pay for my surgery.
All right. All right. We just had a little lunch / breakfast. She has 2 more appointments left. And then we have one here.
3 more appointments.
3 more. Oh my gosh, 3 more? Oh yeah. Wow, okay. So yeah. But we're here back at the one in Phoenix, and we'll be going to which one?
Scottsdale.
For the last
The
appointment.
last appointment.
Yeah. So we'll check back later.
Brianne Lopez on Sunday. Kathy Felix to check in, please.
Maybe you have to do it manually. For the majority of her appointments, I wasn't able to go back there with her, so I ate my breakfast / lunch outside waiting for her. Three. Alright, so how did your last appointment go?
It was good. I had the pulmonary function test, and then the last part of it, they gave me albuterol, which like sped up my heart.
And you're still feeling it?
Yes, and now my heart is like out of control.
Yeah. But did they make you do anything, or?
Afterwards, they just checked to see if it made a difference, like if it made more room for me to breathe.
Were they able to tell you right away or no?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. My name is Meg. I'm the genetic counselor. Just here. Have a seat wherever you'd like.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we were able to get you in.
Yeah.
I guess you have been doing the whole Pectus Excavatum workup, and how has that been going?
Good.
They don't have you running around too much?
No, well, this whole day is just tests, a bunch of tests
Okay.
or whatever, and then tomorrow they're gonna do like the consultation part.
Okay.
So,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then I don't know if they like talked to you at all about why they were referring to genetics, or if there's.
I think it's because I had mentioned about like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and then also POTS and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I just wanted to see if I have any of those, or someone else said Marfan syndrome.
Yeah, so a lot of times, or I guess what Dr. Jarzewski has been doing is referring her Pectus excavatum patients to us, just because we do know that there are certain connective tissue disorders like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and Marfan syndrome that can be related to the Pectus.
Okay.
So we've been offering genetic testing to people with the Pectus, if they're interested, so that way we can kind of rule out those disorders or figure out if you do have them, just because that would be good information to have. not only for like the surgery moving forward, but for
Yeah.
yourself and like future
Others.
screening and how to, be managed and followed for that.
Okay.
When you mentioned POTS, have you been to a neurologist and had that diagnosed, or just?
So when I was a kid, I used to black out,
Mm-hmm.
or I would faint.
Okay.
And then going into like adulthood, like in college, my legs started like they would collapse basically when I was dancing or doing soccer.
Okay.
And then someone told me about like POTS syndrome. So I don't know. That's why
Okay.
I wanted to check it out.
Yeah, so the genetic testing wouldn't tell us anything about you having POTS. Usually what happens is you go see a neurologist and they'll do what's called a tilt table test to see if you have it.
Okay.
Since it's more of like a physical symptom and not something that we would be looking for with genetics, it does seem that there are, like if you were to have a connective tissue disorder, lots of people with those have POTS as well, but it's also possible to have one and not the other, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So the genetic testing will help you give us a better idea of if there's an underlying connective tissue disorder to be worried about.
Okay. And then I do have a pituitary tumor as well.
I did see that, and it looked like it was first noticed in 2001.
Mm-hmm. And then it grew back.
Okay, so they removed it in 2001 and then it came back.
Came back, so I have one right now. Yeah.
Okay. And with the pituitary tumor, did you ever have any like elevated like hormone levels or any?
The
issues
first
with
one,
that?
it was a prolactinoma.
Okay. And then is this one secreting any hormones?
Mm-mm.
And do you have any other history of any like tumors or growths in other endocrine tissue, like the kidney or I guess the adrenal glands?
I'm not sure about that. I know
Okay.
that I have the uterine fibroids, but I don't know if that pertains to anything.
Probably not. And I guess another question I have is, do you have a history of like elevated calcium levels at all?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I haven't had the calcium test done in a while, but I noticed that on the last lab test, they said that my calcium was elevated for some reason. I was like, that's really weird. I don't
Okay.
even, yeah,
And did they follow up on that with any other tests or things?
no.
And then have they ever checked on something that's called parathyroid hormone?
I think they did. I'm not sure what they said about that. I don't think that it was elevated or anything. I think it was normal.
Okay. Yeah, so sometimes when people have pituitary adenomas and then the elevated calcium, especially if it's elevated calcium and parathyroid hormones, we think of a kind of unrelated genetic condition called multiple endocrine neoplasia.
Okay.
And so people with that are at an increased risk to have things like pituitary tumors or other tumors that form in different glands of the body, like the adrenal glands.
Okay.
So I mean, we could always do genetic testing as well relating to the pituitary tumor, just to see if we find something that's related to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
So,
sounds good.
just some things to think about.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll take a family history from you, and then we can talk a little bit more about what genetic testing is available and go from there.
Okay.
Um,
And then the genetic testing, do you do it while I'm here in Arizona?
That's
Sorry.
okay. That's okay. We would draw the blood here, but it's funny because it does go to a lab in California.
Oh,
So
okay.
you could basically just take the tubes and, if you're stopping by San Francisco, drop them off.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can draw the blood today. It usually takes about 3 weeks for us to get results back, and then I would follow up with you either over the phone or through the portal.
Okay.
So that way you don't have to come back in for the
Okay.
results. Any other questions?
No,
Off the top of your head?
just
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about the pectus, the history of some blacking out and fainting, having the prolactinoma, uterine fibroids, and some high calcium. Do you have any other major health concerns?
I have high cholesterol. Low vitamin D. And then they said I was anemic, but now it's back to normal again. So
That's good.
okay.
Yeah. Do you have any children?
No.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
How old are your brothers?
My oldest is 39.
Okay.
And then Jared is, I think, he just turned 31.
Okay.
And then my sister, I think, is 30.
And do any of them have pectus?
So, I don't know if my younger siblings have anything, but my older brother has the opposite, the
Carinatum?
Yeah, the carinatum.
Okay.
And then my dad has the Pectus excavatum. I think it's on both sides of our family because my mother's side has it too.
Okay.
And then my dad has it as well, so it's really weird.
It is interesting. I think more people have pectus than what most people realize.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting because sometimes we can see it tracking through like both sides of the family or one side of the family, or it's like brand new to that person as far as we can tell. So.
Yeah.
Okay, and then do your brothers or sister have any major health concerns?
My sister has an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
It's kind of like a rare one. It's called pars planitis.
Okay.
And then my younger brother, he has schizophrenia, but I don't know of that. And then we all have high cholesterol. My older brother, I think he does have health issues. I don't know exactly what they are though.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to ask him.
So we know that you have this history of the prolactinoma, and then you have a second pituitary tumor as well. You were obviously kind of referred to Mayo because of the Pectus excavatum.
Yeah.
And then there's some history of elevated cholesterol, calcium, and then low vitamin D, some uterine fibroids, and then you're also hypermobile. It looks like you have a brother who has Pectus carinatum, but overall, like, your siblings seem to be fairly healthy. Everybody has high cholesterol.
Yeah.
On mom's side of the family, she's 64 and seems to be healthy.
All right, last appointment of the day. How do you feel?
I feel tired, but excited. I'm excited now for the results and then to see when I can set up my appointment for the surgery.
Yeah. So how many do we have tomorrow?
So we have 3 appointments tomorrow.
Okay. Now what are we gonna go do?
And now we're gonna celebrate by going out to dinner.
Yay.
I woke up and swallowing heaven from it every day.
Bree is doing her makeup so she can take a picture with the fancy surgeon lady.
Dr. J.
Dr. J. All right, so we made it to the one in Scottsdale. What appointments do we have today?
So we have a consultation today with Dr. J.
Okay.
But I think the first one is with a pulmonologist.
Well, we'll
I think
find
it's
out.
Dr. Aron G.
Mm-hmm.
I might be saying that wrong.
Okay.
So it seems like it's getting worse. When I was a kid, I would have difficulty breathing, playing soccer, dancing. And then when I started dancing in college, my legs started collapsing. So I just quit like dancing basically altogether. And in my 30s, I want to say it got really bad to where I just, even standing still, like I would be shortness of breath. And then I started having actual physical pain like in my 30s.
Is it pain at rest, activity, or both?
It seems like the bones are just, it's actually causing pain now.
Pain, okay. Does it get worse with certain positions, or have you noticed anything that seems to make it worse?
Well, my job is physical, so it just seems like both is just causing a lot of pain,
Sure.
I guess. And then it's hard for me to breathe, just exertion and stuff.
Any palpitations, heart beating fast or funny?
My anxiety has gotten worse, and I don't know if it's due to anything that has to do with like the pectus or whatever, but
Do you feel like your heart is racing?
yeah, I actually went to the emergency room a couple weeks ago because I thought I was having a heart attack, but they said it was a panic attack.
Any lightheadedness or dizziness?
Yes. Oh yeah, and then when I was a kid, I used to either black out or I stand up and I get like super dizzy.
How many times would you say? Multiple?
Every single time that I would like get up, my legs would start to shake and I would either pass out or feel like I was gonna pass out.
Any swelling in the legs?
No.
Any difficulty laying flat, getting short of breath when you lay flat?
Sometimes, yeah.
And what's your activity level like right now? For exercise, what do you do?
I'm not super active right now, but I do like to go hiking. But we just went hiking the other day, and it's just really hard for me to like go uphill,
Sure.
stuff like that.
And other than Pectus, any other medical problems?
I have a pituitary tumor.
So
Are you gonna stand?
So we can actually take a look. So in general, let me just start with the sagittal images, which is kind of basically looking at the heart from the side. So the way this works is that we're kind of looking from the side. Your spine is going to be over here, sternum over here. We're kind of going from looking at the side. So you can see that, again, usually the sternum is supposed to come out. Yours is beginning to go back in. Heart's coming in. So we're going to see that, again, you have the pectus, and you begin to compress the heart. Now you can see that the heart is kind of getting squished, and you kind of see this indentation where the heart is actually getting rotated. At the max, you see the maximal compression.
Is that when she was breathing?
This
or
is
just an overall?
This overall.
Okay.
Yeah, so we actually do measurements both with her breathing in and breathing out because they give us two different numbers. In our experience, when you breathe out, it's a better predictor. Now, same set of images. Your spine is going to be over here, sternum over here, head is out of the screen, feet are inside the screen. We're going from head to toe. So we're kind of trying to get a better look. So again, sternum here and spine over here, so high up. You can see you have this distance. This is your aortic arch, superior vena cava. This is your pulmonary arteries. So now we begin to come back in. You begin to see that again, your pectus is coming in, and you have this compression of the right ventricle. The heart is rotated out of the way. You can see this indentation within the right ventricle. And this is basically the maximal compression that we see. So a lot of times, a lot of people, when we talk about pectus, we talk about the Haller index. Haller index is basically how wide is your chest versus the maximal compression. So normal is less than 2.25. Above 3.25 is considered to be severe, and in your case is around 4.4. So you're within the severe range. There's this other number which we call it the corrective index. Corrective index, in our experience, has been a better predictor of how symptomatic people are. Corrective index is if you have your indentation within the chest wall, what percentage do I need to move this up to make it normal? So less than 10% is considered to be normal. Yours is around 42%. And then there's this other number we'll call the cardiac compression index. Cardiac compression index is basically your sternum is not supposed to be compressing your heart. So the fact that it's 2.5 is abnormal. And most of the people that we see in clinic that are symptomatic is probably between 2 and 4. That number is somewhere in between there, and that kind of fits with your overall severe pectus and symptoms. The next set of numbers that we look for is, again, we're looking at the echocardiogram. The echocardiogram, the benefit of echo is that in addition to allowing us to see anatomically there's a compression, we can actually measure velocities of blood and then convert that to volume and compare that to other people who don't have pectus. So this is your heart, so we can actually see that, again, left lower chamber of the heart, mitral valve, aortic valve, right chamber. So right off the bat, you can actually appreciate that the bone is sitting right over here. They're sitting right on top of the right ventricle, which is not, usually there's some distance, it's not sitting right on top of it.
Okay.
We can actually measure, again, this is us looking at the aortic valve in the center. Tricuspid valve is over here, pulmonic valve here. It looks at the Mercedes-Benz sign right in the middle, and again, you can see that the sternum is sitting right on top. And what we can do is that then measure the velocity through the right chamber of the heart through the pulmonic valve, and then compare that to people who don't have pectus. And I always tell people that, again, with individuals with pectus, this is not a heart problem. Your heart function is actually very normal. You have a very healthy heart. This is a skeletal muscle external compression issue. So when we look at this, our numbers, so a couple things, again, your heart size is normal, your function is normal, and you do have, again, this external compression. So one of the first things we look for is this number we call the right ventricular velocity time interval. That's how much flow goes out the right chamber of the heart. So normally a number is between 17 to 18 centimeter for most normal healthy adults. Yours is 11 centimeters. So right off the bat, you're about 30% lower than I would have expected for somebody who has a normal heart.
Okay.
When you lean forward, that number goes to 5. So that's another, so you're 30% abnormal to begin with, and you drop by 50%. And the reason that number drops is that as you kind of lean forward, your stomach content basically pushes the diaphragm up. You have limited space to begin with. Your compression just gets worse. And when we actually looking at your heart function, your ejection fraction, that's number that's reported as 64%, that actually is normal. So anything between 53% and 70% is normal. And the reason that number is not 100% is that if you eject 100% of the blood, nothing's left, you pass out. So there's always some blood left, and 64% is right in the middle of the normal range. And again, as I said, your heart is a normal heart, function is normal, you just have this external compression.
Okay.
And the final component of this is basically the exercise test, because most people are symptomatic during exercise, so they want to know, well, when you exercise, what happens? And one of the first things when we're looking at this exercise test is what this number we'll call RER, which is a respiratory equivalent ratio. Respiratory equivalent ratio is basically, was this a maximal effort test? So the idea is if you just sit on a bike and you don't pedal, it's not going to be a valid test. We want to kind of make sure that you kind of get in the upper portion of the curve. Anything above 1.15 is considered to be kind of maximal effort. Yours was 1.21. So this was a good effort test.
Okay.
So a couple things that we look for, and it says, okay, well, did your heart rate go up appropriately during exercise? Your resting heart rate was about 64 beats per minute. You did go to 126 beats per minute, but that's lower than I would have expected. Sometimes, again, I would have expected for somebody who's asymptomatic as you, I would have expected the number to even be higher, and you kind of plateaued off.
Okay.
The other number that we look for is this, what we call the peak VO2. The way peak VO2 works is that we basically measure how tall you are, and say, well, based on this, your lung capacity should be X. Based on your lung capacity, your maximal oxygen consumption during exercise should be this. Then we actually measure how well did you do. And when we actually looked at yours, you were about 49%. So remember we talked about when you just kind of change position, you drop by 50%. kind of fits what we kind of see. You're about 50% of what I would have expected for you to do, despite the fact that this was a maximal effort test. And this other number, which is what we call the O2 per pulse. O2 per pulse is basically equivalent what your stroke volume is, was 70%. So you were 30% lower than I would have expected, which kind of fits with everything else that we're kind of talking about.
Okay.
The lungs overall don't seem to be the limitation. This breathing reserve is a predictor of do you have any significant limitation from a lung standpoint? And the answer is no. Again, the closer the numbers to zero, the more of a lung limitation that you have. Normal for people who exercise is above 30% is considered to be normal. So when you kind of hit the wall, you still have 56% left in the tank from a lung standpoint. The lungs don't seem to be the problem. It's primarily the cardiac compression that we're seeing.
Okay.
So what do we expect from surgery? Again, I always tell people surgery doesn't make people live longer. There's no longevity benefit associated with it, but it does affect the quality of life. And the idea is that if you can actually lift this bone off the chest, you can actually improve their cardiac compression, which then improves the right side of stroke volume, which then improves symptoms. And what tends to happen a lot with people with Pectus is that you always have had this. You always have lived with this. So it's not like you had a heart attack 2 weeks ago and then all of a sudden you feel crummy now. You always have basically compensated for this.
Yeah.
So it's only after surgery that people say, well, this is how much better I was supposed to feel compared to how I was feeling.
Okay.
But from the number standpoint, I do believe that you will benefit from surgery. I think that it's going to symptomatically make you feel better, and I think that it's going to overall improve your quality of life.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Questions?
Surgery, but
I would take a picture of the CT scan. I think that's kind of when people do see the CT. I think it's
like an eye opener.
deep breath. I think the biggest factor is that there's this misnomer that Pectus is just cosmetic, and it's not. I mean, the whole thing is that yes, there's a cosmetic component to it, but numbers are numbers, right? So if your cardiac output is 50% what it's supposed to be, that number, it's not that you can come in and subjectively feel short of breath, I feel, winded, but tired all the time, but numbers are numbers, right?
Yeah.
If your stroke volume is 50% of what it's supposed to be, if your cardiac output is 50% of what it's supposed to be, those are hard data points. And that's the reason we actually do this on everybody. And if we felt that, there's people that I see and sometimes we say the numbers are not what, I don't think that you're going to benefit from surgery.
Okay.
Doesn't mean just because you come to see us and you say, I want to have surgery, that we say, oh yeah, let's just have surgery.
Yeah.
But in your particular case, I think that the numbers do support surgical intervention.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course.
For Brianne, if you could have a seat next to the desk. Like you met with Dr. Arzanji and hopefully got some of your questions answered.
Yeah, he said I'm a good candidate, so.
Good. All right. So tell me a little bit about how the Pectus Excavatum is affecting you. Why don't you go ahead and take off your glasses and put them on the desk here.
So fatigue, difficulty breathing.
Is it increasing?
Yes.
Okay.
When I was dancing, my legs would collapse. It was causing me to pass out, black out, stuff like
really
that.
black out.
Yeah.
What were you doing when you black out?
I wasn't even exerting that much energy.
What kinds of things would you be doing? Were you dancing when you would black out?
No, just walking.
Wow.
So that happened when I was in high school.
How often did that happen?
It would happen all the time.
Every day, every other day.
It would happen like probably once a day.
Okay.
It was usually when I was either walking or I would get up from like a seated position or laying down. And then I would my legs would start to shake, and then I would my legs would give out or I would pass out, black out.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about, do you think it's getting worse in the past year, 2 years, 10 years?
I think the thing that's like getting worse is my muscle. I have like this muscle pain. And the doctor said that it could be caused because of the right ventricles being compressed. And there's not enough like blood flow, I guess.
Okay, and where's the pain?
So I get pain like around the chest area, and then also my back. And then
By your shoulder blades?
the shoulder blades, neck area, and then sometimes my lower extremities I'll have pain because it seems like it's like pins and needles, like there's not enough blood circulation.
And her jaw as well.
Oh yeah, my jaw.
Kind of that tingling feeling?
Yeah.
Alright. And so when did it start getting bad? Were you 15? Were you 16? Were you 5?
I would say it started getting, the pain started getting worse maybe like my late 20s, early 30s. That's when I knew something was wrong. The blacking out and the my legs shaking, that was probably more so my teens and my early 20s. But then I just stopped dancing because I got tired of it like affecting me in that way. So
Okay. Anything in particular aggravating? Probably anything aerobic, right?
yeah, like whenever I would exert energy.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
Anything help if you blacked out? Well, obviously if you blacked out, you were gonna rest, but did rest help? Are you
Yeah.
tired at all?
I'm constantly tired. My entire life I've been told I was out of shape or lazy, stuff like that.
You're not. There's a
Yeah.
real reason. for
There's
this.
a real reason.
So not anything really specific. Well, it's like, oh, okay. Well, if I have this, it helps. No.
No,
No, it
not
doesn't.
really. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about home. I did not look at where you're from. Where are you from?
Oh, I currently live with my grandma in Buena Park,
Which is what
California.
California. Sorry.
Okay, I thought so, but because I used to live in California, I'm like, I think that's in
Yeah, Orange County.
Orange County.
Yeah.
Okay. And any stairs?
Nope.
Okay.
No stairs.
And you have a friend who's accompanying you. Is she going to help you if you have surgery?
Yes, you will. And then also I'm not sure if they're gonna be available, but I have my mom's a nurse and my sister's a nurse as well. And then they said that I might be able to get like home care if I needed it. But I don't know too much about the surgery, so I don't know if I'm gonna need that or like a special bed or anything like that.
Okay. We can talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
But really, the surgeon will talk to you more about the surgery.
Okay.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm actually a groomer. So it's physical.
How
which
many hours a week?
I try to do it 40, but sometimes I go over 40.
So it's 40 plus hours a week.
I would say 40 plus hours a week. Yeah.
All right. So currently, are you currently doing any exercise?
No, not on a regular basis.
What do you like to do when you have time?
Hike. I love being outdoors. I would love to run outdoors. That'd be nice. I've never been able to run.
All right. So, And any other medical history besides the Pectus excavatum?
I have a pituitary tumor.
That was resected, right?
They removed the first one back in 2001, and then it grew back, I think, in 2017. So, and then they're just monitoring the one I have right now.
Okay. Alright. Are you having any pain today?
Yeah, but I'm always in pain, so I'm
Okay.
just.
Where is it? How much on a scale of 1 to 10?
So it's mainly like in the chest area and my back, and I would say it's moderate, so it's always there, but it's manageable, I guess.
Can you give it a number on a scale of 1 to 10?
I always say like maybe a 6 or a 7.
In reality, it's probably an 8.
Why do you say that?
Just because being her massage therapist and working on her and getting to know her through this trip as well, I know she downplays it a lot.
I think I just get used to it. So that's why, like, when people ask me, I don't know what number to tell them.
Well, we're only comparing you to you, so you're all good. How tired are you on a regular basis on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being can't get out of bed in the morning, 1 being full of energy.
I'm gonna say maybe a 7. I can sleep pretty much all day if I wanted to.
Do you feel rested when you wake up?
No, I'm completely exhausted all day.
All right. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna kind of check you out, see how everything is moving and grooving, see if you get any symptoms when we're testing you. We're gonna test you in sitting, leaning forward, standing up, and then laying on your back. I'll redecorate here. And I'm looking at that so I can determine what kind of exercise program you need.
Okay.
The biggest issue usually is that whether or not you're a candidate for surgery, and it sounds like you likely are, but I can't say that, is we want to stretch out the front of your chest and strengthen your back musculature. Okay, so if we stretch you out, you're going to be in better shape for surgical intervention because the bars would go in across your chest.
Okay.
So the more flexible and stronger you are, the easier it makes it.
Okay.
So we'll just kind of check you out, and I don't have a white coat on, so hopefully I don't make you nervous. And then we'll kind of go through some exercises and some stretching. Do you have any exercise equipment at home?
No.
No. So you don't have a mat or?
I have a mat.
Okay. Do you have a yoga ball?
No. What is that? The big one?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. We'll see what I recommend. Might be good to get a foam roller. I'll give you some bands today. Do you have any latex allergies? No.
No.
No. Good. All right. And we'll kind of check you out. I'll make some recommendations. We'll go through a little exercise routine and see how you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, it's our last appointment today.
I finally get to see or meet with Dr. J, and I'm super nervous but excited to finally get to talk to her about the surgery. And yeah, and I'm super excited about getting the genetic testing done. So
Okay. Your grandfather has it, and your brother.
my
Carol.
brother, yeah, my grandmother and my brother have the opposite, and then my dad has the Pectus excavatum.
Oh wow. Okay.
Are
Am I
you,
pronouncing it right? Excavatum or excavatum?
Excavatum.
Excavatum.
We'll take excavatum too.
Okay.
It's perfectly fine. Okay, so yeah, you do have a family history. We set you up to see genetic specialist on the 9th. Are you going to be able to stay that long for that appointment?
We actually just saw her yesterday. They fit me
Awesome.
in, so
Perfect.
yeah. So
Very
I had
good.
the testing done and
Perfect.
everything.
Okay. All right. So, I'm assuming Dr. Arsanjani went over your images with you a little bit already.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna pull those up. We're gonna review them a little. We're gonna leave them up because Dr. J is gonna look at them with you as well.
Okay.
So the thing with pectus, chest grows inwards, right?
Mhm.
Potentially putting compression on the right side of the heart. When you have compression on the right side of the heart, that means you're potentially having less blood flow through that area.
Yeah.
Less blood flow out to the lungs, up to the brain, and that leads to issues such as shortness of breath, dizziness, having issues keeping up with exercise.
Yeah, and then my legs started collapsing too, so.
Your legs, like giving out on you type?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then when I was a kid in high school, I would black out.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Are you okay with me documenting this?
What do you do for work?
I'm a groomer.
Okay.
Which I might have to stop doing that because I have hypermobility.
Like double jointed,
Mhm.
hyperflexible? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm starting to get like bone spurs and
Okay.
arthritis and stuff. So.
Okay. That's good information. I know. Thank you. Okay. Let's take a peek here. So to give you a little bit of reference on what we're looking at, all right, give you a little bit of reference on what we're looking at here. This is you, this is your back, this is your front, you're lying flat on the table. Okay. Now your feet are actually pointing this way and head's back this way, so this is technically the left side of your body, this is the right side of your body.
Okay.
Okay, so we're kind of flip-flopped. What we're looking at is slices of your chest going this way. And as we start going through the slides, we're working our way down.
Okay.
We're starting all the way up at the very top here. Bone is white, tissue is gray, air space is black. So we're all the way up at the front. We're not even into your lung space quite yet. So
Okay.
here we go. All right, so lungs, these are your shoulder blades, spine. Your ribs come in at an angle. So we're getting little slices here.
Okay.
Sternum, aka breastbone, heart. So as we start moving down, we see how the chest comes inwards a little bit, and the further down we go, it continues to come in.
Okay.
Now we're getting in your abdomen. I believe that's your liver, but let's back up a little bit. Okay. So the fix is for Dr. J to put some steel bars in and to bring this up,
Okay.
relieving that compression up and off here.
Can you take a picture of it?
For
Sure.
every
There is a screenshot of this in your binder there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
I did print that for
I
you.
can show my parents.
Yeah,
My parents are
absolutely.
like, you don't need the surgery.
Well, that's what we're going to determine today.
Okay.
Okay.
For everybody's case, does the sternum go inward in different places, or it usually common? Okay.
Everybody's different.
Mhm.
We see people with combinations of carinatum and excavatum. Some people, it goes inwards up high, down low.
Okay.
Some people have asymmetry. It's all very different.
Okay.
It's all very,
Everyone's
very
personal.
independent. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So she's going to come in here. She would have reviewed this.
Since I was like a kid, and I just want like proof that I'm not crazy. Like
I'm not crazy.
yeah. So sorry.
Yeah, well, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of like the chicken and the egg thing. The less you exercise, the less your heart's able to do,
Yeah.
and the less you do, the less you can exercise, and so it's just like this constant spinning. So I'm going to show you some images. These are going to be from your side, so the body's kind of sideways. And I think it shows really nicely. You can see your spine here, and then you can see your sternum, your breastbone, and then this is your heart in between here.
Okay.
And so you can see how this kind of deviates in, you know, and pushes in on the heart. This is when you're laying on the scanner flat, so you can imagine when you sit up and lean forward, how
It goes
how tight
towards-
this gets,
Yeah.
you know, with your heart in between. When we look at these side cuts, now we're doing slices through the body this way.
Okay.
So you're laying on this CT table here. You can see round shoulder joints, your spine here. And so as we start coming down lower, in this view, air is black, bone is white. And so you can see here's your spine, here's the front of you, and on the x-ray you can kind of see where the slice is right here. And so as we get down lower, you can see, you know, fairly high, like all the way up here to the top of the sternum, you actually start going in.
Yeah.
And that's important for a couple reasons, and I'll talk to you about it. But the lower we get, now you can start seeing your heart here, and up high, it's, even though you're deviated in, it's still fine. It's not hurting anything.
Okay.
But you can see how flat the front of you is there. And then when you get down low, now all of a sudden, you know, your heart's in the way, so it's having to start pushing over to the side a little bit. And then as you come all the way down, you know, it's making a little indentation on the heart. When I fix you, I need to lift this up to right about there.
Okay.
And so there are a couple things that are mostly related to your age, in that, you know, all of our attachments of the ribs are cartilage. And in little kids, they're almost like a rubber band. You can pull them and just like thumb them. As we get older, we start getting calcium, and so you can see these little white specks of bone. We start getting bone in our cartilage, and that's why your knees will crack and, you know, and stuff like that. So it just makes it so that it doesn't move as easily, and it makes it so that it's
breaks.
Yeah, it can snap.
Okay.
And so the areas that are kind of at quote unquote risk for you are here, because when I go like that, I gotta lift this up, and so it's a lot of pressure where that is, and those can snap off.
Okay.
If they do, we have to make the incision a little bit bigger and put a plate on. If they snap off here, or if the sternum itself, when I try to lift it up, breaks, then we generally have to make an incision and either plate it or, you know, secure it together pretty good. We've had one patient whose sternum kind of cracked a little bit, or actually we have a number of them that kind of crack a little bit, and we just leave it alone and it heals up. But we did have one that went home and sneezed or something happened, and it kind of snapped apart, and she had to come back and have another operation. So it's rare, but that stuff is possible.
Okay.
But, you know, otherwise, you know, we lift you up, we give you space, and, you know, it's simple. Recovery is not simple. It hurts. Yeah. The cryo helps, but, you know, it doesn't take all the pain away. But, you know, I think you would benefit from it. I think that, you know, your ability to exercise, do things, lose weight, you know, all the things you want to do that you can't do, you know, you should be able to do.
Okay.
Okay. Can I take a look at your...
Okay, so it is like 5:30 right now, on our way home.
Hi. I'm making my oatmeal.
Yay.
And I didn't sleep at all last night because I was just thinking about what I'm gonna do when I get home. I need to talk to my boss about the surgery, and then I'm worried about like the aftercare, if I'm gonna be able to work afterwards. And I'm also thinking about if I have the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome as well, and what I have to do for that. So just a lot of things on my mind right now, but I'll check back in later with you.
Okay. Alright, so we got pulled over by the Popo for no headlights, so we'll see what happens.
Alright. 1811, I'll show you in the green circle. Dials, copy, thank you.
You can just zoom in so I can see the policy. Alright. Okay. I'm just going to give you a warning today.
Okay, thank you.
KT11, 10-4, also
Why are
started
you having to drive your car? Sorry. Why are you having to drive your car?
Looks like it's going to be a prison bus pulled off right approximately 20 people.
Where you guys headed to?
26 inmates, 2
Back
staff.
home.
Back home?
I had to go to the Mayo Clinic. I'm supposed to get surgery done soon. So.
You guys got a long ride, huh?
Yes.
All right. Well, you guys be safe, okay?
Thank
You're
you
gonna
so
have to
much.
exit here, but
Of
you can
course.
get right back on, okay?
Okay.
All right,
Thank
you
you.
guys be safe.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you too.
Leave your evil thoughts. That's what I was told. I see a devil trying to creep on up. Ain't gonna get inside my soul. So let the demons go and hype me up. Cause motherfucker, I ain't dead till I say so. Cause I've been fighting all my fucking life. So I'ma sin to the motherfucking end. Oh no, oh. Oh no, no, don't you understand that I've been going around this world? Don't you understand that I've lost time and I can't lose more?
Girl, at the next thing, call me over. Not on the bed, lay me on your sofa. Call before you come, I need to shave my choke chop. You do or you don't, or you will or won't.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm feeling some M&M after this.
Y'all know me, still the same OG, but I've been low-key. Hated on by most of these niggas with no cheese, no deals and no G's, no wheels and no keys, no.
Look, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, one moment, that you captured, just let it slip. Yo, his palms are sweaty, these weak arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface looks calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, loud. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. That is, he know he won't have it. He knows his whole back to these ropes. It don't matter. He's close. This is my life, and these times are so hard. It's getting even.
Oh, this is so weird. Like, so I'm talking to Vanessa about what the insurance component about this whole journey for me. And it's been kind of a nightmare because I'm going to go back to when this was back in 2001 after I had a brain tumor.
You don't have to explain that.
Okay.
Just get into it.
Okay, we'll just get into it. Basically, back before Obamacare, I wasn't able to get insurance. There was no one that would approve me. Because before Obamacare, there was such thing called pre-existing condition. And because I had a condition, no insurance company would approve me. And this was when I worked for a company. So I was trying to get even Medi-Cal, I couldn't even get.
Wow, that's crazy.
And the reason why I couldn't get Medi-Cal too, and Medi-Cal right now you can get it, you don't even have to have a job to get it. My brother who has schizophrenia has it, and yeah. But anyways, before Obamacare, I tried to get Medi-Cal, and they said they wouldn't approve me for Medi-Cal because I was over the age of 30 and I didn't have a child, which is ridiculous. There's all these people that needed health insurance, and because they had that stupid policy of pre-existing conditions, and because I was single and did not have a baby after the age of 30, they said therefore I couldn't get health insurance at that time. So I don't want to get into like politics or anything, but majority of my family is Republican, and at that time when they were trying to approve Obamacare, basically my entire family was hating Obama for pushing the Obamacare. But I was trying to make them realize without Obamacare, I wouldn't get the proper treatment or medication that I needed at that time. So I went through 3 insurance broker companies in order for me to get insurance before Obamacare, and they all said they said for me to get insurance would be Obamacare. So they said if they approve Obamacare, I would be able to get insurance finally and get the proper care and medication that I needed.
But around what year was that?
So that was 8 years ago, because I'm 38 now. So, and then even after I had Obamacare, there was a specific medication that actually helped me with my pain, which was called Lyrica. But the insurance I had at the time did not pay for that medication. So in order for me to get the Lyrica, I would have to pay $1,000 a month out of pocket.
Jeez.
Just to feel good. So that's part of the story that I wanted to share.
But now,
so I've been in pain probably since my mid-20s. They think that I have this, it's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I'm hypermobile, and they think that I have a connective tissue disorder. And my job I do right now, I'm a groomer, so it's very physical. It hurts. I'm in pain all the time. I love the job, but I'm just physically in pain. But in order for me to have insurance, I have to work for this hospital doing this job. 1, to pay for all my medical expenses, my insurance and all that. And then 2, so I can actually have good insurance. I now have Blue Shield PPO. I've never had good insurance where it pays for all I go to like different specialists now. I must have like 4 or 5 specialists I go to. And then also I'm on medication as well. And then in order for me to finally go to the Mayo Clinic and get the surgery or get all the tests and everything for the surgery, I had to have the Blue Shield PPO so that I could do the out of network, which I still have to pay a percentage for that. So I have no clue what the bill's going to be in the mail for that, but it's worth it to me. Because the doctor basically said that my right ventricle, my heart's being compressed, and only 49% of my lungs are being used. So it's worth it to me to pay out of pocket whatever expense in order for me to feel better.
so right now we're at a rest stop because I have to pee like 10 million times a day. So now we're doing that. California.
Thank God. I'm alive.
Yay. So this is the end of our part 1 documentary, and next time will be surgery.
Yes, or in between.
Hopefully.
Hopefully getting ready for my surgery.
And what are you going to do for that?
So to prepare for surgery, I have to strengthen my core, strengthen my back, and do a lot of massage therapy with Vanessa,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of stretching, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then try to eat really healthy, maybe do a little detox, stuff like that. Start journaling, and start planning on what I'm gonna do as far as like job. Take better care of myself. There you go.
Self-care.
Self-care.
Okay.
So we'll see you in a few.
Woohoo!